Good afternoon and welcome to the 2026 Graduate Studies Virtual Expo. Throughout this week, we have been hosting a variety of institutions who are highlighting their graduate programs for Seneca students and graduates. All of these presentations have been recorded and will be available on our event page starting next week. My name is Jennifer Kloosterman, and I am one of the Academic Pathways Advisors here in the Academic Pathways office. Our team supports students and graduates who are looking to build on their Seneca credential. There are a variety of resources available, and you can connect with our Academic Pathways team for more details. This session now is with York University and specifically the Faculty of Education. We're going to be learning a bit more about their teacher education, the Bachelor of Education program. So I'm going to pass things over to my colleague Vanessa for a short presentation, and then we will regroup for any questions. If you have any questions, feel free to post those into the chat, and we will get to them shortly. Thanks so much.
Beautiful. Thanks, Jennifer. Greetings. Yep, I'm Vanessa Graffi. I'm here at the York University Kiel campus. That is where our Faculty of Education teacher education program sits. We do offer a number of other locations, but I'll really be talking about the program that we offer here at the Kiel campus. Now, the Kiel campus, if you're familiar, it's just outside of part of the Greater Toronto area. We're located at Kiel and Steeles, and where students end up joining us in the teacher ed program is that you do your courses here, but of course your practice teaching will be in one of the 6 school boards that we are partnered with. So our Faculty of Ed, I heard Jennifer talk about graduate, and yeah, you're going to be graduating shortly or wherever you are in your life at Seneca. Teacher education is one option for you to think about, but maybe you want to go on with your undergrad degree and think about Masters of Education or a different direction. So here, us, Faculty of Ed, yes, we have the teacher education. That is the one in red, a Bachelor of Ed. We also have a 4-year BA, Bachelor of Arts degree in Educational Studies, and that's thinking about education outside of the classroom. I'm not going to really talk about that today. But then we also have graduate studies courses, and maybe my colleague from grad office has already come in and spoken to students at Seneca, but that's another direction that you could think about. So our teacher education program, we have been a deliverer of graduating teachers for many, many, many years. We're one of the larger Faculty of Educations in Ontario. We offer all teaching divisions, and I'll share those with you shortly. But when it comes to actually being here at York and being a student in our Faculty of Education, we're actually one of the smaller faculties. We take approximately 300 to 400 students each year through our consecutive model. That means students who have a university degree and are now applying to join us in the 2-year teacher education program. But we also have a concurrent model. Now, the concurrent model would not be open to you because you're already in a post-secondary education program, but it is open to students who are coming out of high school. They would be applying at that point, and then they're looking to do 2 degrees at the same time. They'd be working on their undergraduate degree at York as well as their teacher education, and that's called the concurrent model. But for you, we're going to focus on the consecutive teacher education program. So I'm going to touch on the admission requirements. I'm going to touch on the different teaching opportunities you have. Primary junior is usually the area that I see the Seneca students looking to apply for. That is from kindergarten to grade 6. I know we may have some students that are in another degree at Seneca, like the interdisciplinary studies that Jennifer was sharing with me earlier. If so, that could also be primary junior, but through the interdisciplinary, if you've got a bunch of courses that demonstrate a teaching knowledge, like a bunch of courses in English or history or geography, you could possibly plan junior intermediate. That's at grade 4 to grade 10. Intermediate gets a little bit tighter because there's a lot more need for 2 teachables in 2 teaching subjects. So I'll try and bring that up a little bit later on. Then I'm going to move on and talk about the supplementary form for the teacher education program. So we don't just look at your grades. That's 50%. You need to meet the minimum GPA. But then there's an additional piece is where you're going to talk about your reason why you want to be a teacher. And we've got direct questions and looking for the type of response that we need to hear from you. And then I'll talk about the courses. So again, the concurrent model, you're not there. This is for students coming out of high school. We're going to talk about the consecutive teacher education product. And we're going to be talking about a September 2027 entry. Why that is that the application opens up in the fall. It opens up in mid-September, and it's a very tight timeline. Open September, closes by the end of November, early December. So you're going to need to watch the TEAS application, and I'll show you that in a moment, as soon as June or July. So you can see the important dates that are going to be coming alive after September through into the fall. You apply at that point, you do the additional requirements that we ask you, supplementary form, and currently our decisions get posted around March 1 for that coming year. So that's why we're going to talk about September 2027. So your pathway, this teacher ed program right now is still 2 years. It is a fall, winter, fall, winter. So you get your summer breaks off. The average, we're looking at a minimum of a B. And so we look at your Seneca record and we go back on your last 20 or whatever is equivalent to your 2 years. And we're going to look at courses that maybe if you're taking courses this summer, not sure what your life is, but if you're taking courses this summer, then we're going back from your summer courses and grades and going back with that sort of equivalent to 2 years. If you've already graduated, like I don't know where you are right now, but if any chance you've already graduated and you're jumping into this session now, then of course we'll look at your last 2 years of your degree, and it's a B for boy that we need to see. The model I already shared, we offer from kindergarten right up to grade 12. That is primary, junior, junior, intermediate, intermediate, senior. Can't say it enough. We're a fall, winter, fall, winter. That means starting at your first year, end of August, and moving right along until the end of April, and the same for the following year. Please note, this is an in-person program. It is an accredited program by the Ontario College of Teachers. So we are delivering a program, a teaching degree that they say we have to do. So has to be in person, has to be made up of practice teaching up to 88 days, have to do certain courses that we're going to deliver to you. So it is not an online, it is not a virtual, it is not even a blended. You're coming to the Kiel campus to do the courses, and do expect a good 25 hours to dedicate to the program each week, because the courses are so many hours. And then you have a day or 2 days of practice teaching in a school, which is that 8:30 to 4:30 responsibility. The 2 locations that you'd be eligible for is here at the Kiel campus. Those are the courses. Or we offer the Catholic Education Center. That is actually run through the Toronto Catholic District School Board. It's at Shepherd and Yonge. You do need to hold a Catholic baptismal certificate because your school placements will be in the Toronto Catholic School Board. But those would be your 2 locations, and how you demonstrate where you want to be is after you've applied on the teacher education form and your application is now with us. We then have you complete that secondary piece, which is where you would select where you want to be, okay? I've got highlighted, not in red, we do offer a teacher education program at our Glendon campus that is offered to students who want to become French as a second language teachers, but you need to be a Glendon BA graduate. And then the other option, I don't know if I'm speaking to anybody today in this room, is that we do offer the Waban Indigenous Teacher Education Program. It is offered every second year. It is a May, like it's a May start, and you just go, 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 and you finish up the following summer and you graduate with the teacher education program. Candidates for the Waban Indigenous BED do need to demonstrate that they have Indigenous ancestry, and so those would be through a status card. It could be through an affidavit. There's many ways to demonstrate your ancestry, but that is how the program is set up. We're excited to bring in our new cohort for this May, and the next cohort would be for May of 2028. So how does one apply to a teacher education program in Ontario? So not just me at York, but let's look at the bigger picture. The teacher ed program is offered at a number of universities across this province. I always encourage students, don't just apply to one, apply to others as well. During this time, we are seeing a competitive pool of candidates that are applying for limited seats. I was sharing with Jennifer earlier, we had over 4,100 applications for this September intake, And we were able to take, for the Kiel campus location, we were able to take about 300 students. Now we go out with a few more offers than that, but I want you to think about other teacher ed programs in the province as well. I think, why are we getting so many? Well, there seems to be a need for teachers out there. It's an understood profession as well. There's a need for teachers, not always in the Greater Toronto area, but certainly across the province. As well, this teacher education program, you can travel with it. It is good out of province to teach at other locations. I even have students that are going internationally with their teaching certification that they have. So I can't say it enough. Think about other universities that offer the teacher education program. We all work collectively together where the application will open up in September. It will close at some point in the fall. And I'm saying some point is because there could be a change to the date where it's always been December 1 in all these years. We could be changing it to an earlier date like mid-November. So please keep an eye on the TEAS application. It will come alive for you to see all the dates, probably by the end of June, but it will officially open up in September. So this is what you'll see when you Google UAC, Ontario University Application Center, and then you will select the TEAS application, which stands for Teacher Education Application Services. These are the universities that use the TEAS application and offer a teacher education program. There are two others that are not on the TEAS, and I want you to think about them as well. There is Niagara University, which is located here in Vaughan. I say here in Vaughan because it's not far from our campus. And I think they only offer the primary junior teaching certification, so you apply directly to them. And another one is through the University of Toronto through OISE. It is a graduate program, but their graduate program is accredited with the Ontario College of Teachers to be a teacher. So keep your eyes open, keep the doors open, think about each of the institutions and which ones will be the best fit for you to apply to. So when you come to our site, TEAS, and you can look at this for this year, the 2027 entry, you go and you look at our information and it will tell you that B average I mentioned, how do we use your courses towards your GPA? What are the additional information that we're going to need from you from a supplementary form? So you can start visiting it now, even though it's not updated for the September 2027 entry. It is updated, sorry, for 2026. You can see the program codes. Program code Y10 means primary junior, kindergarten to grade 6. Can be any degree. We don't care. Don't have to look at teachables. If you're looking at junior intermediate, we need 1 teachable, which means 4 full year or 8 half-year courses of something that is a teaching subject like English or history or geography or math. If you think back at your grade 7, grade 8 years, there was always that phys ed teacher, there was the music teacher, there was the history teacher. It's because they graduated with a clump of courses to give them that teachable. And then intermediate senior would be really for those who might be in the interdisciplinary studies program. I'm not sure. And you have to have 2 teachables. So let's say your first one's math. We're going to need to have at least 6 full year courses or equivalent of math. And we need to have at least 6 half year or 3 full year courses in another teaching subject. Okay. So the next step after you've applied through the TEAS application this coming fall, you'll be invited by us here at York to fill out a supplementary information form. This will be your time to talk about your interest in the teacher profession. There'll be direct questions where we want you to think about community, professionalism, leadership, equity, diversity, inclusivity, what your own personal lived experience has been in this interest to become a teacher. So maybe things that you have done through your undergraduate degree, especially if you've been in a program related to early years, you have had a practicum placement, you've had that places of teaching and learning. You'll want to bring that into your supplementary form. Maybe you've gone off to do volunteering at a school, at an early years center on your own. Talk about that. Talk about camp counseling as well, wherever it's been in your life. But I'm going to be very honest. Because of the number of applications that we've had, our committee, we're looking to see students who had practice teaching experience in the age group that they want to teach. So again, those of you that might be coming in with early years or children development, we'll want to see that you've got that kindergarten, maybe up to grade 6 practice teaching. Don't have to have a lot of hours, but demonstrate that experience. You'll also have to do a letter of reference, 2 of them. It's on the MyFile portal where you'll be guided to complete this information. And usually a reference from a certified teacher is a good one to have as well. Our committee want to be reassured that you know how it feels to be in a school setting, that you know what you're going to be going and moving into as a certified teacher. Being familiar with Ministry of Education curriculum is going to be, because that's how you're going to have to deliver your courses. How you do it is your creative way, but you will need to follow Ministry of Education curriculum as a certified teacher in the province. The supplementary piece that our committee reviews, along with the fact that you've got that minimum B average, that goes over to committee and they take about a month and a half to review it. And that's where our decisions go out March 1. So what is that average? Again, it is a B average, a 73%. We will pull your GPA when we get your transcript in the fall. And I can't say it enough. If you're going into your final year of your Seneca studies this year, we'll be pulling the courses from summer and going back. How are experiences and grades weighted? It's a 50-50. So if you meet the minimum GPA, wonderful. Now your supplementary piece that you completed, that all goes to committee for consideration. Does a master's, I doubt that any of you are sitting with a master's right now, but does a master's make a difference? Currently, it does not make a difference. It is your undergraduate degree that one needs to have in order to apply, in order to become a teacher with the Ontario College of Teachers. When should your degree be completed? We would be looking at your degree be completed by next summer, the latest. If you are having to complete another course or 2 next summer, because you'd be starting in September of 2027, then the latest would be a fall convocation. But we would need confirmation from your registrar's office that you are in good standing by next summer and that you will be eligible to graduate in the fall of 2027. When will you be admitted? You'll be admitted by March 1, maybe even sooner. We'll see what we have to do. And is there a special admissions policy? I know I hear from students who said, my way of navigating through my education has been through an IEP, or, I've come in as somebody with a second language, or I am minoritized, or I have a physical disability. Is there a place that I can speak to that? So there is, and it's our Access Initiative. It is also sitting on that supplementary form that you complete. And you just identify which one or ones that you sort of align to. And then we'll be asking you to talk about that access, that lens that you have of learning and working through it into your supplementary form. And why we're interested to hear this is because once you become a certified teacher, you're going to be in a classroom of 25 to 30 students who have unique ways of learning. If it is a disability, if it is a second language, if it is somebody who's recent, immigrant, if it's this, if it's that, you as an Access candidate will be able to sort of feel and understand unique ways to support them with their learning. So we do encourage you to think about Access when you're completing the supplementary form. What teaching levels do we have? I've already shared with you. Primary, junior would probably be most of you in the room, and that's from kindergarten to grade 6. The courses, how many teachables, if you want to be that next level, JI or intermediate senior, it will relate to how many courses are on your transcript. So it could be for 4 for JI, which is full year, or 8 half year. If it's for intermediate senior, we'd have to have more courses to show you've got that teachable. I think, that would be where I want you to look at your TEAS application, or you can always reach out to us in our office, where we can guide you with a little bit more detail. In fact, my team right now, because we're done the process for September entry, you could always send us your transcript and say, I'm thinking about becoming a high school teacher. Do I have the courses on my transcript? And you could email it to us. And I'll give you my email at the end of the session. Okay. The experience profile, again, I've talked about, what you're going to need to demonstrate in the supplementary form, but we do ask you to sort of do a check off and give us hours that you've got classroom teaching related to the age group that you want to teach, not related, volunteering, community. And we ask you about that because we think it will help you to sort of draft and work on your answers on the supplementary form itself. How do we teach? Well, I've already told you we're not an online program. We're not even blended. You are here in person. So the top left picture is perfect to describe it. Our classes are 45 or less, probably no different than how you felt at Seneca. Because the way that you're going to learn to become a teacher is not in a lecture. You are going to be doing presentations, you're going to be discussing, you're going to be doing a lot of group work, you're going to do a lot of reflections, you're going to do journals. You're not going to do any big major exams, but you're going to do quizzes and tests to make sure that you're on top of your readings. You're also going to be in a school. They're going to be in a school once to twice a week, and I've got a slide to talk about that in a moment. Now, there could be a couple of courses that are a little bit larger in lecture. Those are our research courses, our content courses. But that lecture field, you'll be divided into small tutorials as well. So, but I'm going to say a good 75 to 80% of your courses are small. I do the computer picture because we have a portal called eClass. You've got your online learning portal where your course directors upload materials and you see your assignments and your test marks. So eClass is another piece that you work with and learn from, but the real space is in person with us here on the campus. So 88 days of practice teaching you are going to do in the 2 years. In your first year, it will be 1 day a week. Let's give it a Monday. You're out of school from 8:30 to 4:30, and you do that right through to the academic year of April. And then in April, you have a 2-week block in that school, Monday to Friday. You're with a mentor teacher, and we use the word observation, but it doesn't mean you're in the back of the room doing nothing. You are active in the school, practice teaching with the kids, with your mentor teacher. Maybe you can go into other classrooms and experience the way that they teach. You do get graded, but you don't get graded with an A or A plus. It's probably similar to maybe a practicum that you've had in your program. You get a P for pass or an F for fail, which you don't want because if you get a fail, you're out of the program. Then in your second year, it's 2 days a week, starting that early September at a school, and then you will move over to the winter and do 2 days a week, and then you do blocks as well. So 2 weeks in December, Monday to Friday, and a 5-week block from April into May. And those 2 years will get you the minimum of 88 days of practice teaching you have to give and have behind you in order to be nominated and a member with the Ontario College of Teachers. Now, one thing to note, you are not all in the same school for the 2 years. You will probably be in 2 schools, maybe 3, but I say 2 schools because in your first year, you'll be in that school for the full year, right? Right from the fall until the following spring. Then in your second year, which is in the fall, you'll be in the school twice a week, but you're going to be at a different age group than what you did in your first year. And then come the winter semester, you could still be in the same school, maybe a different mentor teacher and a different age group. Because in order for us to nominate you to the Ontario College of Teachers to be a certified teacher, you have to show, or we have to show them that you have had practice teaching with all the age groups from kindergarten right up to grade 6. We are connected with the 6 school boards, York Region, Public Catholic, Toronto Public Catholic, and Peel Dufferin Public Catholic. You cannot choose your school. We will do that with you when you are admitted. You will identify 2 schools or 2 boards, I should say, or locations that fit to where you think you could sort of commute to, but you do get to choose if you want to be in a public board or in a Catholic board. And please note, if it's in the Catholic board, you do have to demonstrate with, I think right now it's only the Toronto District School Board. You have to show that you have a Catholic baptismal certificate, okay? Moving along here, this gives you a feel for the courses that you do if you're PJ, JI, or IS, but again, most of you are going to be PJ. So, child development, communities, foundation, diverse, equitable classrooms, inclusive education. I'm going to say some of you in the room might be looking at those courses going, hey, that sounds similar to what I did at the college in my degree. Could I get transfer credit? Unfortunately, you cannot get any transfer credit from your undergrad program towards the teacher education program. That goes for everybody who gets into the BED program. So no transfer credit. But at least if you have had experience in courses like that, then what you're going to be able to bring to our classroom with other students who have not. Maybe you've got a Bachelor of Science biology student who's never done any early years education program, but they've been practice teaching in primary junior schools. You'll be able to sort of bring them to life with what you have from your program and bring it into ours. You've got your practice teaching, which happens in the fall, winter for first year. Your EDPR 3000 happens in the fall of your second year, and EDPR 4000 happens in the winter. And then this makes you a little bit different than everybody else. So if you are going to be PJ, then you're going to do language literacies. You got to do math. We're going to get you to do a few math courses so you're feeling ready for it. Physical education and the arts. For junior intermediate, it looks kind of the same in primary, junior, younger years, but you're now working with a slightly older age group, and you also have to have your one teachable behind you. And then for high school, it looks like you're not doing anything, but there's a lot of credit behind how to bring your teachable to the school setting. So let's say none of you are going to be this, but let's say you're biology and science. That's your teachable because you came out of a faculty of science degree and you had math and bio there. Those are your teachables. We're going to be focused on how you can get ready to teach the sciences from literally grade 7 to grade 12, and also how to teach the math from grade 7 to grade 12. So that's what teachables are. You get to do a few electives. I'm not going to go into depth on this, but we'll guide you on what electives you get to take over those 2 years of your teacher ed program. But again, for primary junior, we really want you to feel strong and confident in your maths and literacy because they're very important with the early years that you're going to be teaching. And then I'm coming up to sort of my last few slides. So tuition, that's always a big question. How much is this program? So for the 2 years, the program is approximately 15,000. Okay, it is. We work on a credit system where a course starts in September and ends in December. That's 3 credits. Another course starts in January, finishes in April. That's another 3 credits. You're in 30 credits each year. Okay, and so per credit times 60 comes out to the magic number of 14,953. This is based on the 2025. When you start, if you join us in September 2027, there could be a slight change in that cost because whatever the Ministry of Education is approving with tuitions going up or down, but that is the current tuition for the coming students. Job opportunities. Yes. You're going to be in a school. You're going to be in a couple of schools. So be there, be present, maybe try to do additional hours, make yourself stand out. Principals will remember you. So you've got that placement, you've got that experience there. They are not paid placements, okay? You're not getting paid for it. You're just there building your hours and getting your experience. We have a student association called FISA. They do a career fair each year, and we bring in the school boards. We even bring in tutoring companies. We even get recruiters out of Canada from places like Europe who are looking to recruit our graduates, not forever and ever, but maybe to go and do a couple of year contract teaching. London, England seems to be a hot spot. I'm doing letters for students going down to Australia. And of course, out of province as well. We get some people coming in from those places that are looking to recruit our graduates. And my last little piece about, can you teach abroad with a teacher ed program? For sure you can. Sometimes if you're going back and you're going to settle in that country and, become a permanent teacher, maybe there's an additional qualification you have to take just to get yourself familiar and aligned with the education system in that community, that municipality, or in that country or state. But usually you're good to go with what we have. I know there's that third one. I get a lot of how do I become a spec ed teacher? How do I become a guidance counselor? So you first have to finish our teacher ed program, become a certified teacher, and then students can take, or graduate teachers can then take additional qualifications. And that's how, how did my principal become a principal? Well, they started way back in the day as a teacher, just like you could be. And then they spent so many years teaching, and then they did their professional principalship. How do I teach French as a second language? Well, you can take additional qualifications. So as a teacher, you never stop learning. You're always going and adding to your bucket as an OCT teacher. I kind of leave you with, if you're curious to see how one grows as a teacher, you can go into the Ontario College of Teachers, find a member, put the name of your favorite school teacher back in the day, and you'll see they're growing as a teacher, where they started. Maybe they graduated from York in the consecutive teacher ed program 15 years ago, and it will say that. And then you can see all the additional qualifications that they did as a teacher to keep, moving along, growing, getting different qualifications and certifications. So I hope that is a good start. I am open to any questions that you may have for me.
That was a fantastic start. Thanks so much, Vanessa. So yeah, any questions, please just post them into the chat and we can go through there. Also, we're a pretty small group, so if you would like to unmute yourself, just raise your hand with that little raise hand button there at the top, and I have no problem just to unmute you and we can do it that way as well.
Sounds good. So I can see one from Robin. I can read
Yeah.
it. Is that helpful? Okay, two questions. What day part are most courses? So the courses, good question. We are a daytime program. So you could have a course that's 8:30 to 11:30 and then you're done for the day. Usually we try to grab two courses each day. So we are 8:30 to 11:30, 11:30 to 2:30, or 2:30 to 5:30. I'm going to jump in and say, usually, I can't promise, you have one day off in your first year. If not, it's a busy schedule. Remember, I mentioned it's 25 hours a week. We don't teach in the evening. Okay, that is not how the program runs. And as part of your degree, co-op work, working really good, placement hours completed. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And that's the beauty of the programs that some of you are coming out of because of the co-op, because of the practicum, because of an internship. You've got experience hands-on, maybe with that age group already. So you're going to talk about that in your supplementary piece. You're very fortunate to have it. Okay.
Okay, so we'll just give it another minute to see if any more questions come through. And then if not, we did post some links into the chat there for the York Bachelor of Education site, as well as that TEAS application guide. I find that super helpful. There's so much great information in there as well. And if any students here today need any further support at all, you can always connect with us in the Academic Pathways office, and we can help you out. And if need to connect you with the team at York, we are very happy to do that as well.
Yeah, as you're chatting, I'm putting in our email as well.
Perfect.
I think because if there's
Awesome.
anybody in here in the interdisciplinary studies and thinking about, high school teaching, we would want to have a look at your transcript to see if there's anything that could happen. Okay.
Sounds good.
I'm not the fastest typist. Yay me. Okay, there is our email, osp@edu.yorku.ca, Education Student Services. My colleague Yuma, she starts with the emails and then she divides and conquers them with my team to who can sort of support you with your questions.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Vanessa. So I think that is all there is for questions. So I guess we will end our session there. Lots of great resources for everyone to connect with after. Thanks to everyone that joined us today, and especially to you, Vanessa, for taking the time to share this information with our students. Always super helpful.
Thank you. Thanks, Jennifer. Good to see you. And thanks everyone for joining me.
Have a great day, everybody.